Chapter 7. Beatrice is in deep contemplation about the party that she had just attended at Abichi Lake Resort upon special invitation by His Excellency Sam, and tries to put down the experience in writing, but she fails. She does her shopping on Saturday and gets some inspiration, which she pens down on her spare room, in her spare room. Although she writes down some pieces of information, she throws it to the trash and starts all over again. This is because she has so much in her mind concerning the change of behavior of His Excellency and what is going on in Kangan. Beatrice's house help attends the Pentecostal church and she follows some strict religious rules. One of those that she follows is that she strictly keeps the Sabbath day holy and she does not do any work in the house on that day. She goes to church in the morning and comes back late in the evening to eat cold food without heating it. Beatrice, who is commonly called as B or BB by her friends, and she had not known that even commoners like herself had enemies. Many people have different opinions about her and refer to her as an ambitious or iron lady, which catches her imagination. Nevertheless, she narrates that she has been ambitious and talks about her humble beginnings. Her father lived with them in a mission house and was a strict disciplinarian, a firm teacher, and a prayerful man at home. Her father usually beats them for the least offense that they commit at home. He was always commended by his superiors for the level of discipline in school. Ironically, her father also used the cane to beat even her own mother. And there are intense instances when he locked her up in the room, and when she came out with tears, she would wipe the tears from her cheek because she was so ashamed to let anyone know that her husband had been giving her some beating. Such moments made Beatrice to develop some bitterness towards her father and even wished him dead. Her mother would scold her for harboring such thoughts, and she had come to realize that anyone in her family lived in their own worlds. She is not really a favorite among her sisters, and so she spent most of her time in her own isolation, in her own little corner. Beatrice later finds out the reason why her mother hated her so much. During her pregnancy, her parents had expected her to be a male child, especially as they had already female children. Great was their disappointment, but during her christening, she was given a significant name, Nwanyibuife, meaning that even female children are something. Beatrice clearly states that it had been a mere coincidence that she had become entangled with the three strong men of Kangan, that is Chris, Ikem, and Sam. She had known some of them before they became great. She had met Chris when he was still the editor-in-chief of the National Gazette. He had developed interest in her. She had also fallen, but not given him into him because she is not a type of a desperate woman. She criticizes women who believe that they cannot survive without a man or believe that marriage should be the end or the final destination of a woman. She had also known Ikem longer than the other people because they had been schoolmates in London. Beatrice has always been a career woman. Nevertheless, Chris is handsome, polite, and considerate. Yet, she had maintained her dignity and pride without giving in to him cheaply. She recalls about Comfort's incident, who had been accompanied her fiancé to the introduction ceremony. And during one of the During the ceremony, one of the boy's aunt had referred to her as a worthless woman, and her man had kept silent. Upon their return to the city, she had abandoned her fiancé and gotten married to someone else. Chris had been introduced to Beatrice by Ikem, who had lavished praises on the gentleman and making Beatrice to understand that he is still a bachelor. But the closest and oldest friend to Beatrice is Ikem of Saudi. Both had studied in London, and she had been persuaded by his friends to return home and contribute to nation building, which he now regrets. In London, she had almost fallen in love with Ikem, but Ikem had a long list of girlfriends. Beatrice used to write poems and short stories which she would give to Ikem to read and give his opinion. She realized that his opinions were very chauvinistic, and she believes that Ikem ascribed only secondary roles to women. She recalls how she had given a distress call to Ikem when Guy, her former boyfriend in London, had humiliated her in a party, and Ikem had jumped into the train without warm clothes to come and comfort her. She considered Ikem a brother. In that incident, Ikem had been exposed to cold, and she had spent all the time trying to keep him warm. She seldom meets him these days, but she also remembers how he had suddenly showed up on a rainy day at her apartment. There Ikem had narrated his noble birth, that he had no date of birth because of lack of registration facility in Amazon. He was born and wrapped in banana leaves and led a difficult life. They shared coconut and corn, while Ikem appreciates Beatrice for influencing his opinion about women. The turn of conversation on Ikem's love letter, which begins by the oppression of women as written in the Bible. The book of Genesis blames women for siding with the devil, and African ancestors blame the woman for making the sky to go up from the earth. The second part of the letter gives women a noble role as the mother of God and humanity. Despite women are not given any role to run the affairs of the world, African ancestors also gave women the name Neka, which means mother is supreme. Yet they are subjected to labor and exhaustive work. He also indicates that apart from women, there are other oppressed groups all over the world, such as peasants, industrial workers, black people, ethnic and religious minorities. In the letter, Ikem also handles ways by which oppression can be curbed in the society. This can be achieved through the change of mentality of individuals and society in a gradual manner, which he calls a reformation. He insists that carrying out a revolution will not help. It will be removing one oppressive system to replace it with a more brutal one. He encourages that people should get involved in politics and contribute in the debates that will bring development. Politics is not a straight line, and people must be ready to accept criticism or different opinion. It is only when society accepts different ideas that it will develop. He hands the letter to Beatrice, kisses her passionately. She begins to react positively to the kiss and suddenly pulls out. Ikem leaves her apartment and goes home. In this chapter, it is important to note the following. It brings out retrospection about Beatrice's childhood memories. The fact that her father is very domineering at home highlights male chauvinism. The hard upbringing also helps to give her a strong personality. She does not want women to be second, desperate, or to sound desperate at the mercy of men. The chapter also traces Beatrice's relationship with Chris. And from the chapter, we can understand the close relationship between Ikem and Beatrice and how it helps us to understand the plot of the story. We now understand why she would take total responsibility of Elewa's pregnancy when Ikem is assassinated. It is as if she were taking the responsibility of her brother.